I mean, the past 3 years for sure have been challenging for us, but it's been challenging for every county. We've taken on new people in our department and we trained them in a remote work setting. The majority of our department is working remotely now, which was a big change. Other things that were just important is we had to get creative with being distant, not seeing each other every day, not being in each other's space. We use Microsoft Teams, we use Zoom, we use all the things. We had video bingo, and then we entered this space where we got back together again. So we started doing speed dating for the people that we serve and helping people learn to drive and buy their first cars and get jobs in the community when there was a lot of jobs out there. You know, there was a period of time where everybody on Bridge Street was hiring for something, right? So it was getting our adults employed again. Some of them never lost their jobs, some of them did, but they were able to gain employment again, meet new people, gain friendships, become a part of the community. Our department volunteered nonstop for the past 12 months in the community because we didn't get to do that for a couple years. You know, everybody was staying at home, so we hooked in with the United Way, the Chamber of Commerce, Red Cross, Buck 50. You know, we were doing everything and anything we could to get integrated back in the community, but it probably did more for us, right? It just felt good. Even the booth that we had at the county fair this year that had a sensory room for kids, which was kind of the first time for us. It was a nice way for people to be able to enjoy the fair that had kids with autism that hadn't got to enjoy it before, and not in that way. So 811 Housing grew during the pandemic in Ross County, providing people that we serve an awesome opportunity to live alone and have affordable, handicap accessible housing. The units were nicer than most places they had ever lived. And even though that we have a little bit of a waiting list for that now, we were able to get people into those units when they were made available, and everybody's been really happy with their home and their experience there so far. So Victoria is an adult that we serve that used her time home alone with her family during the pandemic to get a new pet and to work with a dog trainer here in Chillicothe to teach her obedience skills, and that's how she used some of her time at home. And she got to work with one of our SSAs who's also a dog trainer to help her with her new puppy Millie. I mean, there was several months that we did everything almost through Zoom, right? We had bingo, we had different things that Trish put together for everybody. Name That Tune, good times. We had a big showing for Name That Tune. A lot of people love music in Ross County. A lot of the people we serve love music. We had some really big attendance for that online event. And then just bringing people back together safely outside, right? So we started doing some outdoor gatherings and some things that happen outdoors. First Capital Enterprises restructured their whole program to create like a mobile ADS facility where people are going out in the community instead of going to a building and having experiences. And they go all over the state. I mean, they'll go to the zoo, they'll go Hillbilly Hot Dogs in West Virginia. Have you heard of this place? It's like you go into a school bus and eat a hot dog. It's an old school bus, but they wanted to go, so they road tripped it. But that's an agency that we work with that got really creative of how to keep people, you know, I don't want 30 people in a room together. One of them might be, you know, not feeling well. They just took it on the road. They took them outside. We had a social distancing camp that we partnered with Goodwill Industries on during the summer that every camp for kids was closed because they were worried about people getting the virus. And that turned out to be a great relationship that Goodwill formed with the Parks District, who then in turn made handicap accessible bathrooms at Buzzard's Roost just so people with disabilities could enjoy the park, you know? So we work with Capabilities, and they have handicap accessible vehicles, so hand controls on the steering wheel for someone that can't use, you know, the gas pedal, brake pedal. They go with them to take their written exam. They go with them to they practice in the cones out in the parking lot. That's been a great program. That's a rite of passage for kids, right? For a teenager, that's a rite of passage. You want to get your driver's license with all your peers and be able to drive to the prom or drive to a high school football game. And a lot of people we serve didn't get that experience in high school. So we used a lot of the pandemic to give that one back to them. But we do have people that have saved up their money and bought used vehicles and are driving themselves to work. They're not relying on city transit. or other public transportation systems to get them to and from. It's so fun to see the pictures of the people we serve. Like, that means more, right, than listening to me talk. Just seeing people do cool stuff in this community is much more meaningful. But just to thank the department for coming for our accreditation review, and hoping that you have a great stay in Ross County, and if you need anything, we're here to answer questions.